Well, restrictions are easing today from kindergartens and Year 1 and Year 12 students as well, all back to the classrooms and to resume face-to-face learning. Joining me live now is the Minister for Education in New South Wales, Sarah Mitchell. Minister, good to see you. Thanks for your time this morning. So back to school today for some students. What kind of challenges are you expecting today?
Well, I think mostly people will be excited. I think for our students who've been learning from home for over a term, it's well and truly time we got them back in the classroom, and I know our schools are ready for that. Obviously, what we need to do is make sure that's in a COVID-safe way, so that's why we've got things like vaccination of all our staff, good ventilation in our classrooms, and also some COVID-safe measures. So, not mixing year groups, not having extra visitors on site, plenty of hand hygiene and cleaning. It will be a little different to school as we know it, but we're back, and I think that's the most important thing.
Were you able to sort out any issues with teachers? I mean, teachers had accused you of showing a lack of respect by bringing all of that forward.
Well, look, I've had really good feedback from our teachers. I've been meeting with different teachers and principals every week during the learning from home period. Learning from home is hard. It's hard for them, it's hard for our students, it's hard for families. They've done an amazing job, but they want to be back in the classroom. So, we've got good support from our teaching staff. Our vaccination rates are great. Everybody knows that the best learning environment for the kids is in the classroom. And so that's why we've got that focus on getting back to school from today. And I know teachers are excited.
How far off do you think rapid testing is?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, obviously we're working with health in terms of, whether that might be something we use in a school setting going forward. Obviously, when we can do at-home testing, that's going to make it a lot simpler, and I believe that's still on track to come in a few weeks. But we'll take health advice in terms of, are there settings that we can do that in schools? Will it be, certain year groups, or if there's, issues in any communities with outbreaks, will rapid antigen testing be something that we bring in terms of schools? At the moment, we obviously don't need it and we don't have it, but we'll keep working with health around if that's something that we can use, that can only be a positive thing.
Sure, and would that be an expense for the parent, or would that be expense for the schools? How would that all work, or are you still working it out?
Yeah. Well, they're the things we need to work through, and I think, we've got to look at sort of the benefits of doing the testing, if the need is there, how that's going to work. I know some other jurisdictions overseas have used it, but obviously we've got, our mandatory vaccines, a lot of our COVID-safe measures, so we will continue to work with New South Wales Health around if that's needed in a school setting and when, and then work through any of those issues around, who would bear the cost, and not wanting to obviously make it an impost on any families either,
okay.
But they're issues that are still under discussion.
So just for parents, so everyone knows, what are the rules if a child tests positive to COVID, Minister?
Yeah, so Pete, what we'll do is obviously work with health in terms of the context and how it happens. So if, for instance, it's a child who's fully vaccinated, who's old enough to be so, who's been in a classroom with others who are vaccinated, then the disruption to the school should be quite minimal. If it's a younger student who's unvaccinated, they will have to have, obviously, their time in isolation. So it really is going to be a case-by-case basis. We'll work with schools when there is a positive case. It will differ if it's a student versus a teacher versus the vaccination status, and if we're seeing, any more transmission in that particular school or classroom. But that's why we've got some of the COVID-safe measures, not mixing classes or year groups, mask wearing. We're trying to do everything we can to minimise the disruption to schools because of COVID, and that's definitely the settings going forward.
Sure, so if a student has had double vaccination and they get it, you're happy for them just to proceed as normal?
Well, no, obviously, if they're a positive case and they even if they are double vaccinated, they'll have to follow the health advice. But what it will mean, for instance, is, if they're in a classroom with other kids who are double vaccinated, with staff who are double vaccinated, they probably won't be close contacts anymore. They might just be a casual contact or watch for symptoms, as opposed to how we've had to deal with it previously, where everybody around the case has been out for the 2 weeks. There will sort of be levels now depending on, the individual and also who else is vaccinated around them as well. So, look, it is case by case, and that's how we're going to do it going forward.
Okay, and are there any changes or are you expecting any challenges around the HSC? Not very far away now, in a couple of weeks' time.
No, look, everything's going smoothly for the HSC. You're right. We kick off those exams on the 9th of November, and I think it's going to be really exciting for students to finally get those exams underway. Our Year 12 students, of course, back in the classrooms from this week. Everything is running to schedule. All the plans are in place, and I think it'll just be a relief when those exams start and when they finish for the students as well.
Sarah Mitchell, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.